Welcome to another stage analysis video. It's Sunday the 17th of August 2025. To just start this weekend's video with a look through a bunch of new features that we've added this weekend or this week to the stage analysis website before getting into the regular members content where we go through all of the metrics sort of necessary for the stage analysis method each week. So start off with a simple new feature that I added. So added a small search bar up here in the menu area. So when you hover over this, you now get a pop-up and you type in your ticker. So Apple, for example, AAPL, and you immediately jump through to the individual stock page. So that one's real simple. Just a pop, anywhere you click, it goes away, or you've got a little X button over in the corner. So it's real simple. Just type the stock or the ETF name, you'll go to that page. The next change that we made was adding a new type of chart here into a much more interactive chart. So before we've had static charts on the pages of the individual stocks, but now we've got a new interactive chart through here. You can see it's also got I've updated the sort of info, the open, high, low, close data and volume. I've included the plus and minus values on the day up here. So when it's negative, it's red, and you can see the move it made on an absolute basis and a percentage basis. I've changed these just around a little bit to make them a little bit cleaner and similar to how it's formatted in TradingView. So it's a little minor change there. So on the charts down here now, as I said, you can obviously they're much more interactive. You could already go into full screen mode, but if you click on the top right corner here, you go into full screen mode. From that, you can scale the chart, move it around, grab and drag, and you go through. So, but then come back into normal view, it resets. Also, if you scroll down the page here into the chart attributes down here, so you'll see this has changed a fair bit now. So we've still got the crosshair, 40-week moving average, stages, background, next stages, and momentum. But we've added chart size, bar size, and the different indicators now have options for them. So chart size, fairly straightforward. When you click on that, you've got 4x3, 16:9, 6x4 is the default. You've got portrait modes and square mode as well. So the default on mobile is now 3 to 4, so the opposite of 4:3. So it gives you it fills up a lot of a normal mobile size screen. Default on here, as I said, is 6x4 size, which on your typical screen you then get the whole obviously chart in view there. But if you have got a deeper screen, you can go to 4:3, or if you've got a shorter screen, you can go to 16:9, and then that can pull the chart back into view for a bit. Or even you've got a much bigger screen, you can go to square, for example. So that's the chart sizes on there. Bar sizes starts at a default of 7, but we can go all the way up to 20. So if you go up to something like just go to an 8, you'll see it just changes the zoom of the actual chart, and then that's the default going forward whenever you go to a new page. So if I change stocks now, go to Tesla, for example, here you'll see it keeps the size that you're at. So, but preferable for me at the moment, I prefer the 7, so I've got that set as the default. Indicators wise, at the bottom here, we've got the 13-week high-low, which is this bar along here. So you'll see every time there's a 13-week new low, it's a red bar, and every time there's a 13-week new high, it's a red bar. So if you untick that, that goes away and comes back again. And then we've got the Mansfield relative strength, which is the second indicator in here at the moment. So with this, we've got a bunch of options, as you can see. So you can either hide it completely, so it just turns it off, and the chart will reset, and then you've only got the other 2 little indicators in there, so that's hidden. Standard view, which is what I have it set to with the 52-week moving average, the Mansfield 0 line, but as a moving average. It gives you a little bit more context of what's going on. You've got the flattened version of the Mansfield relative strength, where the 0 line, or the 52-week moving average, is flattened to be 0 there, so you can see that. And then we've got variations of that as well. So original is the flattened version. Original area gives you a coloured version of that, which obviously can be quite useful when you're looking at certain stocks when they're obviously coming down into stage 1 basis and starting to turn back towards stage 2 positions. You can see at the moment with Tesla here, we're just sitting underneath the stage 2 level by, where are we? 4.81% below that stage 2 level at the moment. But you can see in the Mansfield relative strength down here, it's just below its zero line at the moment, minus 2.61. So it's hovering around its zero line as it approaches the stage 2 level. So obviously, if it moved into stage 2, we would expect the relative strength to significantly improve through there. And then again, original line, which changes that to still the coloured bars, but it takes out the area. So again, that's quite a nice version of it. It's the flattened version, but when it's positive, it's got a green colour. When it's negative, it's got the red line. So I think those are quite useful ways of doing it. As I said, standard is my preference. And then the SATA score panel at the bottom here, this panel here, which goes from 0 to 10 scores. So it's whatever these scores are tracked as a chart. So you can turn that off and have that hidden. So if you've got a screen like this, you'll see obviously it then takes up a lot less space, and you can obviously have indicators all turned off completely if you want to as well, and just have the full chart view. So a few more options in here. I am going to be adding some other stage analysis based indicators as well into the mix over time. So at the moment, just giving you a few limited options so it doesn't go crazy. You can also put the stage's background color on if you want to see where the various stages are. So you can see at the moment we're in stage 1 over here, by it being blue. So you can put the 40-week moving average on. You can also change use the momentum bars, which is the weekly elder impulse here. So at the moment, positive for the last 2 weeks here in Tesla, for example. So I particularly like the momentum. I think it's a really useful chart style. So that's those. What else have we got? Stock details on the stock page. So next, if we scroll down the page here, you'll note this new details panel, which has appeared underneath the info at the moment. So you've got the next stage 2 price, percentage of stage 2, etc. But now from what we have in the screener at the moment, so we'll go back to the stage analysis screener here. Let's load that up. So when you're in the screener, you have all of these obviously options going across here. So, and more than that as well. If you go into the columns features, some of those are hidden. So we've got all of these various options, channels that you can use for the 13-week, 52-week, etc. So if we come back into here and scroll back down again, I've now added all of those into this panel down here. So you've got your price, weekly change, you've got stage, whether it's changed. So substage change, SATA score and its change, Mansfield relative strength, the RS change, the various stage 2 metrics, various stage 4 metrics. So all of the percentages to 10-week moving average, 30, 40 weeks, momentum, whether that's changed, inside bars, significant bars. So at the moment on these, you can't see any differences, but when they change, you have a little tick on these ones, and this has a +1 or a +2, for example, when they're positive. All of the different channel levels for the stock. So 52-week high, for example, here on Tesla, the percentage from the 52-week high, and then the donkey in channels. So we've got the highest highs, highest lows, the highest closes, all on weekly basis. So you can use any of those metrics in there, ATRs and all sorts. There you go. You can see some of the ticks on this. It's crossed above its 10-week moving average this week, and it's crossed above its 30-week moving average. You've got the IPO date, market cap, etc. So all of those metrics at the moment are in this long slide across panel. So something I'm considering doing with that is similar to what we have with the sub-industry pop-outs and the sector pop-outs, etc. We have these slide out panels here. So I'm considering putting all of that data into a slide out panel in a nicer format, so it's easier to access. Instead of scrolling down the page and scrolling across, you just have a one click, and then it will appear in a more useful fashion where you can still see the chart. And then on a bigger screen, when you're on a 190 screen or 1920 screen, I'll potentially have a panel down the side here. So if we go, probably not that big, it's probably more like that kind of size. But then obviously this would all shift over to the left, and then we'd have some kind of data panel down the side here on the right hand side, which has got all of those metrics in. So for those on a bigger screen, instead of having it all underneath like it is at the moment here. So that's those new features at the moment on the stock pages. What else have we got? So coming back to the screener, something else added this week was the large cap over-the-counter stocks, so OTC stocks. So if we come through to here, OTC large cap stocks, which I've made a chart list of. You can see we've got SoftBank, you've got Tencent Holdings there, Nintendo, BNP Paribas, so we've got Volvo, L'Oreal, Volkswagen. So lots and lots Airbus through there of these bigger stocks. Let's just open up a couple of those. Reckitt Benckiser, Mitsubishi here. You can see SoftBank absolutely flying at the moment. One thing we do have with the data with these stocks, though, is that it doesn't update at the same time as the major US markets. So the major US markets start updating within just after the first hour after the close, but the OTC stocks don't update until 3 to 6 a.m. US time the next morning. So it can be before most people's breakfast, but they're still on the previous day. So you might notice on some of these that they still say date updated 0814 on, not at the moment, but obviously if you looked at this on Friday night, for example, some of them still said 0814, whilst others said 0815, because that data doesn't update necessarily at the same time as the rest of the market. So you can see some of these major movers, big, large cap international stocks that are listed in the OTC market, so that US obviously traders can trade these stocks. So Nintendo, for example, pushing up to new highs in stage 2B at the moment. You can see it's had we've got at the moment 76% stage 2 run in the last run here. So stages background, although it's actually much more than that. Only had a 1 week shakeout, so it started all the way down here. So it's well over 100% move at the moment with that latest stage 2 run with that. So that's the OTC stocks that we've added through there. Once we got chart lists. So I spent some time on the chart lists feature this week. So if you come up here to the More tab, you'll notice a few sections that weren't here this week. So I added Learn and I've added Forum back into there, but I'll get back into that in a second. You come into chart lists here. When you first open this page, at the moment I've got the just once you've actually got it, it looks like this. I added actions in here, so each list you can now edit the name of the list. You can directly view that in the screener. So precious metals here, if I want to go to the screener, it'll jump me back to the screener, and then it takes a second to reset the filters, and then you'll see the precious metals list is now in here. So whatever your chart list is, whether it's your own portfolio, whether it's just a watch list, whatever it is, you can jump back to this page from the screener from there. So I think that's really useful feature. And if you need to delete the list, you can also delete the list individually from here. But if you want to delete multiple lists at once, the edit lists button up here, if you click that, you get this little pop-out panel that says select, and then you can select multiple at a time and then click delete selected. That also appears at the bottom depending on how far you are down your list. So, and when that goes away, that pops away again. So there's a few ways that you can now edit your chart lists. And when you come into the chart list page itself, in here you've also got back to chart list button, you've got a viewing screener, you've got delete tickers, and you've got add tickers. So delete tickers opens up a similar panel here where you can select multiple, then do delete selected from there. So, or add tickers, just add your comma separated stocks. So if you wanted to add any into here, just type what the name is, etc. Press save, and then it will add those. And then, as I said, you can go back to the screener, and you can also get your drop down list from here of your various chart lists. So if you just want to quickly make lists, then you can quickly create a new list in here, drop them in, give it a name. You can edit the name from the actual thing if you don't come up with a name straight away, and then you can then put those back into the screener. So if we actually go back to the screener itself, where am I? Through here. So this list here, chart lists, which has the NASDAQ, S&P 500, etc. When you add your own chart lists, they appear down at the bottom of that list. So you can see all of my current lists through here. So I've got crypto list, I've got the quantum stocks lists through here, got the nuclear stocks, which obviously have been very strong recently. So you can edit those, and then you've got all of the features in here to then look at the stocks, and you can use all of the filters. How many of these had a stage change this week? None of those. How many had a substage change? A couple of those did. So they weakened to 2 minus, Centrus Energy and Mirion Technologies, for example. So you can use any of the filters on your stock list here. So, but if you do use a preset, you would actually have to turn the chart list back on again. So for example, if I did one of these presets here, so inside week with less than 5% to the stage 2 level, you can see there's not many there. So if I actually come back in here and looked at the S&P 500, then that's only the S&P 500 stocks that meet those requirements as well. So Amgen, McDonald's, Abbott Laboratories here, etc. So if we click into one of these, you can see just under 3.41% to its stage 2 level at the moment, consolidating above those moving averages. So that's a way that you can do that with the new features there. All right, let me come back into here. Where am I? Anything else? Oh, and just one more feature that I added this week. So it's a very old feature, but many people that come on the site in the past will remember. I've reinitiated the stage analysis forum as a way for people to be able to chat with me a little bit more about features on the site. And it was already existing, but it was very well hidden as it was archived. So when you click in the forum, you come into this main section, and then you go through into so if you click on the Stan Weinstein stage analysis, blah, blah, you come through into this section. So we've got the resources thread here, which has just got some info about stage analysis. It's got some Wyckoff links, the Wyckoff phases and events, give you help with your distribution phase, etc. on there. You've got links through to various Wyckoff books and PDFs, etc., as well as video tutorials from Wyckoff Analytics, who are excellent with that. So, and then I've added a bunch of new threads down here. So you see, obviously no replies at the moment because I just added them. So feature requests, stage 2 screener, filter settings, feedback, add stock symbol requests, and report bugs. So feature requests, for example, I've said in here, I'm adding daily data and daily indicators, next major feature that I'm working on at the moment. Mini charts, similar to what we've got in the relative strength pages. I'm going to be adding those to the screener as well in the coming months. So the idea is this thread is somewhere where you can reply and let me know what features that you're interested in me adding. So if we come back out of it again, stage analysis screener, filter settings, just anything to do with the screener. Share your presets that you've created if you want to, if you've got particularly good ones that are different to some of the ones that I've got set already. So stuff like that in there. Feedback in general, just want to know what your feedback is about the site. Constructive criticism is obviously very helpful for me to improve the site, etc. What you trade, how you trade, all that kind of stuff is really useful. Add stock symbol requests, another one. You can just type in the stock symbols that you're interested in seeing. If they're not existing, if there's any bugs, we'll report them through this thread. And then we've got the historical threads down here. So stage analysis beginners questions, you can see it's had over 2 million views over the last 10 years. So started that one all the way back in 2013. So, and originally the Trade to Win board a couple of years before that. So you can go all the way back through here, and we've got beginners questions, lots of questions and answers about the method. You'll see how it's changed over the years, links to various things. The Stan Weinstein stage analysis and market breadth thread here again has a bunch of links at the start, which link to the Udemy course, video interview with Stan Weinstein for the 1987 crash, little Q&A I did with Stan on here, links to various podcasts, etc., global trend alert examples. So links from the Technically Speaking book, Heretics of Finance, various other stuff on here. Some of the links down the bottom here are broken now, need to fix up a couple of that. And then there's obviously loads of years of discussion in those, which I need to sanitize a bit, as there's quite a few pages where there was lots of people posting charts, etc., which don't give you a lot of information. So I want to go through that and sanitize it a bit for the most useful content. And then a few other areas here, some code for the various stock channel scanners like Pro Real Time stock charts particularly. So got like 8 pages of different stock chart screens. I obviously use as a way of doing the watch list before I obviously created the screener. So, and various other things on here to do with the method. So the forum is a really useful sort of place for you to go and actually just get a little bit more info about the method, and if you've got any questions. So I do get a lot of emails, so it would help to put them in the forum if they're especially if they're questions that my answer would help multiple people instead of me just answering the same question over and over again over email. You see what I mean? So lots of your questions you will find will have already been answered in the beginners questions thread over the last 13 years. There's literally 13 years of Q&A in there. So if you've got the time and the inclination, you can obviously read through that. Obviously my historical views about how the method couldn't be automated at the time. Obviously it's taken a long time to get to that point where it's actually we've got a decent automated version of the stages. So there's lots of really good discussion on how the method works, and obviously our trials with it over the years and working with it for all of the years. So I think that's a sort of really useful area. And I added the learn section into the menu for anybody that hadn't seen that was a member, as I realized there wasn't a quick link to get to that from the menu bar. So when you can obviously link to the stage analysis video course. Anybody that's a member, you can have the video course for free. Just let me know and I'll give you the coupon code for the video course. So obviously some people will have already taken that and come through, but it's very cheap. It's like a $10 to $30 range, depending on what Udemy price is at the time, whether they've got one of their sales on, which are very regular. But basically I'm going to make it free for all stage analysis members that anytime they want to use that. So just let me know and I'll create the coupon code for you, so you can click through to that from there. And then down here we've got the how to use the screener, the how to set up the balance of relative strength in TradingView, the SATA score in TradingView, top 5 books for the method, for the Wyckoff method as well, and a few other older threads, as well as a 2.5-hour interview with Stan Weinstein that was done in 2022 that was very good at the time. He talked about a lot of stuff that you don't hear in other interviews. So I found that really useful. Probably the best interview I said here since the Financial Sense interview series back in 2011 to 13, which are no longer on there these days. So that's that. Let's move on now. I think that's all of the new features that I added this week. So as I said, there was a lot of new features. So hopefully you like all that. Let me know any feedback that you have. Right, next let's get on to the watch